Mentally or physically, success can be defined as getting up one more time after you've been knocked down over and over and over again. My name is T. Wood, and this is Triumphant Moments, where we highlight significant moments in life that are beyond the surface to encourage, to inform, and inspire people to triumph over life's challenges. With me today, I have my sister, Miss Syntoria Spencer. She was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. She's an Air Force veteran with a law degree from Thomas Cooley Law School in Michigan. She is the founder of a nonprofit teen girl mentoring organization named Sisters Anointed to Lead Together. Welcome, my sister. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing well. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction.
Okay. So look at here. What is part of your daily routine? What was your daily routine today?
First thing I always do is give honor to God. That's the first thing, because I couldn't have waken up without Him.
Right.
So I give honor to God. Then I just take some time for me. I've learned through the struggles I've been, because I used to get up rushing and wanted to go here and there.
Right.
And I had to learn that I had to take time for me. So I meditate. Once I talk to Him, He gives me direction. I meditate and work on me. And once I work on me and get myself together, I go through my day. That'd be talking with my teen girls, focusing, as you said, I'm a veteran, so I make sure that I'm still a civil service. I work,
right.
So I do that. And also with my travel business, I work with that. So that keeps me pretty busy.
Okay. So look at here, Pensacola, Florida. What was it like for Miss Syntoria to grow up in Pensacola, Florida? What was it like?
Wow. Terrence, it was great.
Okay.
I love Pensacola. I'm a true Floridian girl. I'm the only child between my mom and my dad. And I have a brother that, with my father had, but we didn't grow up together, so I was always by myself. So part of that, I looked for companionship because I felt lonely. Grew up, but I had a great childhood, nothing wrong. But I always was just a little selfish because I had my mom and my dad, and I wanted everything for me. But
so it wasn't the only child situation.
No, it wasn't the only child situation.
Okay.
But I learned through the years that I felt myself wanting to be everyone's friend,
wow.
And I kind of lost me in the sense of it. So, but wow. Pensacola is great.
Now, when you say you found yourself kind of wanting, is it more, did you want to necessarily help and please everyone? That type of situation?
Yes.
That could be draining.
And it was.
Wow.
And growing up like that, from coming up as an adult, and you continue to be in that mindset,
wow.
It would drain you mentally, physically, and emotionally. So, my childhood was great. I'm not saying it wasn't.
Right.
But I had to understand I was being more of a people pleaser, and I had to learn to find Syntoria. And that's where as I continue to grow, that's the focus I started taking with life.
Wow. Now, see, you proudly served in the Air Force for 8 years. What type of foundation serving in the military did that get, injected into you,
Like we was just talking, and we said, growing up, I was looking for a people pleaser. I was more like, this my friend. Everybody loves Syntoria. This brown for everybody. The military taught me more about diversity, flexibility, adaptability, discipline. And when you put all that together, it started making me shape me as a young lady, as a soldier. It started me understanding and being focused on the things that mattered. And that was me and how I portrayed myself, my inner person. So for me, the military actually shaped me a lot when it came to, like I said, understanding how to adapt to different situations, being flexible, learn different cultures. So because when you're military, you travel. And by me traveling, I wasn't in my comfort zone like being in Pensacola, because I'm going to different places now. So I had to learn how to adjust And that took a lot, but I'm very grateful for the lessons that I learned.
Mm. When you step back and you look at that, let's turn a corner here. So, if you had to describe Syntoria, whether it be words, whether it just be some words, whether it be a sentence, what's in a sentence, what would describe who Syntoria is from your perception?
Wow. I would have to say, and not to sound bad about it, but I would just say compassion.
Wow.
I love people. I'm loyal. I'm a loyal friend, trustworthy, but compassion that's me. I was raised in a family. We didn't do arguing. We wasn't, I didn't have all that disruption in my life. My mom and dad, my immediate family, my uncles, my aunt, it was always love. We stood on the word of God. And so all I know how to give is what was instilled in me. So I would say if I had to describe myself, it would be compassion, just love, because I love people. I love people.
When you think about that, we're going to take a step here. We're going to step back right here. So you lost a son at 4 months.
Mm.
You lost a daughter at 8 months. The emotional drain that put on you. How has that affected you as a mother of your 2 sons?
Oh, yes. It was hard. Losing my first 2 children, I was very angry. God knows I was angry and I was hurt. Why me? Woe is me, why me? Not that I lose the first one, then I lost my first one at 4 months and I lost my daughter at 8 months, 10 weeks from delivery. I'm getting ready to have life. And when they told me that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't in God's plan. And at 22 years old, when you're bearing a child, you don't understand that. No. So when I had my other 2 children, I have 2 sons. And I always look at them and people say, I say they're children of the King. I didn't put so much in them that I thought they was above everybody else's child. But I did know who they belonged to. And because of that, knowing that, God, you have us, I was okay with it. And I kept loving them more. I wanted to be supportive. I wanted to be just there because it was like he was saying, I have, and my 2 children we named, it was Raymond and Syntoria, that was her name. And he's like, I have them comfort, but I have entrusted Brandon and Justin in your care. And I'm giving you the position to put you in as a mother to care for these 2 children that you thought you couldn't have. But see, they was in my will, not your will. And I have 2, and I'm very proud of them. I have 2 adult sons, as a matter of fact, and I'm very proud of them. They're doing very well. And it just gave me the opportunity to love more and love harder, because some people, we take kids for granted. You just think, I can have a baby and I'm good. But when you at a cemetery, you got to bury them, or you got to decide how you want to dispose of their body, and you're at a young age. That's not easy. That's not easy at all. And you have to make that decision, when you're thinking you're carrying life, and then when you have it, the life has left it. That's a very hard thing to do. But my 2 sons, they was very unexpected. Okay. And that's why I said, Lord, okay, it's your will. I thought he had jokes. I said, okay, God, I didn't know it. But he was like, no, this is your purpose. See? So my 2 sons they are my joy. They really are.
You could have quit. You literally could have positioned yourself to make sure that, hey.
And you know what, Terrence, and not to even make it bad, I did. I said, you know what, I'm going to take this medicine, I'm not going to have no children. And he said, oh, but you know what? You don't control life. And I'm like, I'm not having it. I'm not going to do it. Let me just take it and I'll be fine. I was like, I'm just going to take this medicine. We're not going to go that route. But he said, oh, you don't understand who I am. And I was like, okay. So in a sense, I did position myself. But that wasn't, like I say, it wasn't my will that God And that's what we have to understand. It's God's will. And he already tell us my ways are not your ways. And my thoughts are not your thoughts. We know that. So when I did conceive and have my kids, I knew it was from him, without a doubt.
What is amazing is that I found out that in our darkest time, or our most hurt, he tends to shine the brightest. He tends to shine the brightest. So my question for you is, clearly at that time, it was dark.
Oh, yeah.
As time went, God showed his light. So, were you accepting of it immediately? Or were you, what the heck is going on?
I was like, okay, Lord, you have Joe. I was like, no, not immediately. Because I couldn't understand it. Because by man, I'm taking, what I should do not to have kids. Because mentally, I didn't feel like I was there. I've already lost 2. But like I said, it wasn't my will that needed to be completed. He has a purpose for them. So what we have to understand, everybody has purpose. And he needed me to bring my children in the world because they have a purpose to serve here. And because of that, it wasn't what I wanted. It was his divine will. So no, at first I didn't. And then, with Justin, my second one, yes, I did. I was excited about it. So, because the first initial shock, Brandon is my oldest, and the first initial shock, I'm like, really? And then when I had Justin, I was like, oh, fine. I got it. He got me. So I knew it was his will.
That is absolutely a blessing. Because it's so easy to kind of reject after what you've been through. You could have easily done that. And you still saw it in yourself to press forward, to pick yourself back up and press forward.
Losing my daughter was the hardest one because she was 8 months and I was closer to the liver. I'm gonna cry. Losing her was the hardest. And like I said, when you at 22 years old and everybody's coming to you and they're like, what you got to do, you got to bury, and you're thinking, what am I supposed to do? And you just holding her and there's no life. That was one of the hardest. That's one of the hardest times in my life, was just seeing her. And I didn't let her go. After her death, I kept pictures. I couldn't let her go. But then I had to understand, holding her to my past, I keep her memories, but she's here.
Right.
And I know the things I may have had went through with her, because she was born, they say, with a defect. He just protected me. So I had to get it in my mind that it was okay to let her go. The pictures, but in the spirit, I still talk about her all the time. She's always there.
You can't take that. That's not going to be wiped away.
You can't. You can't. So she was the hardest, but yeah.
In taking a turn here, you decided to step out on faith once again. I think for the audience and all the viewers and listeners, if you haven't noticed by now, Miss Syntoria, she is a person that is not afraid to step out on faith. All right? So it's not a surprise that you decided to study law. Where did the motivation come from for you to study law?
Oh, this story, Terrence, you're going to be like, you got to be joking. To be honest, my cousin, her name's Benita Young.
Okay.
She's an attorney. And to be honest, I had no clue to study law. And I'll say this because coming from Pensacola, Florida, you didn't see a lot of attorneys that looked like me. So there wasn't a drive to say, okay, I want to study law this because I could see, that it's growing in this field here. So I wasn't exposed to it. And my cousin, came to me and she talked to me. She's like, Sin, she called me Sin. Sin, you'd like to write. You can go to law school. And you know me, falling for the trap. I said, okay, I'll go. No problem. Didn't have a clue what I was going to get into. So I really went on a silly little bet, to be honest. She said, she came in town and we was doing something. And she's like, I bet you I forgot what it was. And I said, if you win the bet, I'll go. If you don't, I won't go. So I went and took the LSAT. Oh my gosh. Terrence, when I took the LSAT, I was very cocky. got very cocky because I did well in school. So I didn't feel like I needed to study. If I can tell anyone else, when I took the LSAT, I was like, okay, I feel like I was going through labor. So I'm not doing this no more. This is the last test they're going to worry about me taking. And so I took the LSAT and I didn't do well. I didn't do well at all. And this was the first time I did a substandard, as I could say, in my studies. And this is where it kind of went downhill in a sense. But because I didn't want to be defeated, I wasn't getting accepted into schools in Florida. My LSAT score wasn't great enough. But I got accepted in Thomas and Cooley under conditional. And they said, we'll accept you. We'll see how you do your first semester. If you do well, then you can continue on. Well, I did well. Did well to get through the first semester. But then the second and third semester.
Okay.
Fourth semester.
Okay.
They was like, you're not here. You don't belong here. Wow. Are you telling me you're going to kick me out of school? I'm like, I never made grades low to be kicked out of school. But my first year, I struggled. I was on academic probation. I ended up getting dismissed. And I had one professor that really believed in me because she saw my writing. And she's like, one of the classes that's the hardest here. And she said, but you know how to write. And she said, you got an A in the hardest class here. You need a little direction, a little training. She called me. I ended up reapplying to go back into school.
All it takes is one.
One person. Just one person to see. And I wasn't going to go back. I said, I'm not coming back. So my thing was to protect my reputation.
Right.
Because remember I told you I was a people person.
Right.
I just had to say, you know what, I'm coming back because my mom was her health was kind of starting to go down. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to say I'm coming home because I need to take care of my mom. I can cover it up. But Terrence, you can't cover up your life. You can't. You got,
Come on.
You can't continue to do that. So just to hear the fast forward story, they accepted me back. But at the same time, I told you I'm compassionate.
Right.
I'm the only child, and my mom's health was starting to deteriorate. I said, you know what, I can't go back to school. And I had someone tell me, they said, if you really, really want it, you'll make a way. So Terrence, for 2.5 years, I flew from Pensacola, Florida, to Lansing, Michigan. People was just, like you say, I started meeting people at the airport. People was giving me buddy passes. People knew me at the Flint, Michigan. They was like, we're going to help you with the rental car.
For two and a half
years, I flew. I stayed 3 days in Michigan, and I did 4 days in Pensacola, Florida. And what I would do, my studies and then my grades just went back up because I didn't have time to play. I didn't have time because I had to get my studies, and I didn't have the library at Pensacola because they're not law based.
Right.
So when I come home, I had to get brand new stuff ready for school one day for the week. Justin spend time studying, and then I'm back out on the plane. I did that for 2.5 years, and I flew back and forth, and I graduated, and I ended up being on the dean's list. When I did it, my whole studies changed, and I graduated with my Juris Doctorate. It wasn't the easiest,
right,
but it made me stronger.
Right.
And because of my mom, I wasn't leaving her. And at first I was like, Mama, no, I can't go. She's like, oh yeah, as long as you have somebody that have breath in my body to help you with these kids, I want you to succeed. And that's why when you have a strong family connection, it makes such a difference. But yeah, so that was, law school wasn't easy. It wasn't something on my plate, but I do have my Juris Doctorate today.
When you look back at, first off, that is the epitome of drive and determination. What triggered that? What absolutely triggered for you to make the sacrifice for 2.5 years to fly back and forth and stick to a specific regimen to make sure that you were disciplined enough to get to the point to where you graduated?
Same subject we just talked about. My 2 kids.
Wow.
I was their supporter, and at the end of the day, they were supporting me. You think, even when I look back at it, what I've done, I'd be like, what I even thought I could do it. I'm like, who flies? And guess what? And I was unemployed. So who flies? How are you financially going to do this? But when you know you're in the will of God, when you know that you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do, ways and people, it just overflows. And it's just like I was going to a job, just like I was leaving my house, going to driving to a building, brick and mortar building in Pensacola, but I was actually leaving my house, going to an airport, get on an airplane to take me to my job, and then I just come back to work. So it wasn't no different. The transportation was different. The miles was different. And because the mindset was different, I was able to achieve it. But I wouldn't have did it on my own. When I looked at my kids, my family, my supporters, that my circle of friends, that's what kept me going. And he put everybody in my circle that I needed to make me spiral up. And that was my drive. I couldn't. How could I stop? My kids was looking at me. And today, because of that story, I could share with somebody today who may not think they can go to school with kids. They may say, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, baby, let me tell you, if you trust him and you step out on faith because that's what your heart is desired, a way will be made. The most unconventional way. A little girl from Pensacola, Florida, unemployed,
right. 2
children in a private school, able to fly back and forth for 2 years on an airplane. Who does that?
Right.
But that's my story. Now, did I go there many days with $1 in my pocket, ate Roman noodles?
See.
But I had friends on the other end that made sure we got you.
I need my listeners and my viewers to understand what is being said. Syntoria, you can sit here and you can see the smile. We see the smile. You know, your energy. You can't help but to feel it when you walk in. But then when you listen to that story, somebody listening, somebody viewing will absolutely be encouraged.
Thank you.
So then let's take a turn.
Okay.
You take all those things that you've been through, all those things not that you've been through, but that you overcame. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You take all those things into perspective. And then you found it in yourself to create the nonprofit organization Sisters Anointed to Lead Together. Where do you find the energy, the dedication to, first off, tell us about this organization, S.A.L.T.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
Oh, wow. S.A.L.T. that's my heart. S.A.L.T. is a 501c, it's a nonprofit organization. We mentor teen girls between the ages of 12 and 18.
Okay.
Our focus is just to teach girls to magnify who they are, magnify their self-worth. We teach them how to just build on their beauty. We teach them to understand their self-esteem, to motivate them. Go for your full potential. It's all about you. And we just make sure that our main focus is getting them, make sure they're academically successful. That's our main focus. Keeping them in school, making sure they make the grades so they can succeed and just chase whatever dream they have. And it doesn't matter. Like I tell my girls, I don't care. You can be the lawyer, you can be the doctor, you can be the janitor, whatever you do, just do it good. And that's one of our themes is excellence on your level. We don't compete with nobody.
Okay.
And that's why when I look at all that's coming from my Pensacola, like I told you, I wanted to be this person, that person. When I graduated from law school, I was trying to live up to everybody's standard. You got to be a lawyer. You got to pass the bar. You got to do this. Everybody's telling me, and I'm living. Oh, okay, that's what they say I got to do. She ain't this and she ain't that. And then when SALT came, God gave me. He said, "I'm gonna teach you how to be transparent now." So now that I went through all these, what people thought I should be, when SALT came about, it taught me all I had to be was me.
See, so here's the question that raises. Has it been easy?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And I'd say that not negatively.
Right.
I said it's been easy because of my love for what I do.
Okay.
It hasn't been easy on the point where sometimes it challenges me because I'm mentoring the teen girls, but the girls are mentoring me. We as people, and sometimes we get caught up in the hype, we want to live a certain way.
Yes.
But when I say it's not easy, it makes me look at myself and my inner self and say, are you transparent? Would you want the girls to see this side of you? What are you trying to teach them? So if I'm trying to teach them to be respectable for people, and then I'm out on the corner raising hell, then guess what? I lost their respect just by not paying attention to who I am.
Right.
So it keeps me focused, and it keeps me discipline myself. And discipline your own self, that sometimes ain't easy. So that's what I mean. So I don't mean it in a negative sense.
Right.
But it's been worth the while. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right.
I wouldn't trade my babies. I call them my babies. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
See, when you're involved in that, what would you say is something that stands out as far as your time spent with them in this particular moment? Clearly, there's many moments that you have that clearly stand out. None necessarily stands above the rest. But what comes to mind when you think of them, of your engagement with them? Is this a moment that you've had that just happens to stand out?
The moment that I can say is because by me losing my daughter, guess what? I got a whole group of daughters now. You understand? And their parents allowed me to be in their village. So it's not a hurt. You know, when I look back and when I talk, or when they call me, when they send their report cards, or when they're saying, Miss Syntoria, or parents, I just need you to talk, because they allow me in their village. So it's like they're my daughters as well. So I lost one biologically, but I have gained so many.
Come on.
So right now we have 14 girls, and guess what? I have 14 daughters.
Is there a limit on the amount that you're willing to have at one point?
No. You know why? Because, I mean, true, we in COVID, but we learned how to use technology. At first, because we're based out of Pensacola, you know, so a lot of it's in Pensacola, but we have retreats and we have girls come all from all places. But guess what? Now we have Zoom. So anybody who wants to join, we have the platform. He's giving me the platform to say, you know what? You're going to take SALT not just in Pensacola, but you're going nationwide. Why not? So Zoom and the technology that's available. So anyone who wants to talk to me or say they need it, you always hear me say, I don't discard nobody.
Nope.
Everybody is somebody. And even they say, you know, Syntoria, I have a niece, I have a daughter, can you just talk to her? Guess what? If you trust me enough, I have to, that's what God has called me to do. And what we have to realize, He don't call us to work in our comfort zone. He calls us to be a servant.
Very important. Very important. Very important. Some of the activities that y'all have done.
Oh wow. We do the retreat. We have a girls' retreat.
Okay.
And at that retreat, you know, there's no cell phones. We talk about in and out of beauty. You know, they learn, you know, you don't have to have all this makeup to try to make you, because your beauty is from inside. You know, we talk about communication. We talk about leadership skills, cyberbullying, because, you know, this generation, the social media is so, I mean, they live for that. And it's rough.
It's rough.
One of the two things that we take pride on, we have a scholarship fund, which is named after my mother. So we have that scholarship fund. And two of the things that I really have the girls to take a part of is in December, we have two things. We have what we call Spirit of Giving. And I want them to understand to give back. What we partner with nursing homes in the area.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and it's not like, and we get different gifts for every residence. We don't discard female only, gentlemen only, because like I say, everybody is somebody. And when you're in a nursing home, and I have them, I don't even take the gifts. I get permission from the parents, and I have them to deliver the gift to each resident. So they can see, you know, that grandmother who's raising them, or that aunt, you know, you don't just take people and just put them away, because some people don't have people. So when they go there and see, when some of the residents see the kids' faces, it lights them up. And my girls are appreciative as well. Then we have a thing that we call, that's the spirit of serving, where they learn to serve in the community. Then we have the spirit of giving, where it's just, I get names of families that may not be able to provide for their families for whatever reason. So what we do, we provide them the food, everything they need to have a nice Christmas dinner. And the girls and everything, we'll put it all together. Now the only thing with that is nobody knows who the family is, because that's out of respect. Out of respect.
That's important.
That's important because we all have went, I mean, I'm not going to say but we all, you have your times.
Yes.
And to keep your dignity, your pride, what I like to do is just make sure it's just me. And I'm the only one that goes to the family, and I deliver the item. And we've been doing that now. The numbers keep growing, but we have been doing that. We've been in 6 years. We've been doing that across 5 years, and it's awesome. So we have, and the people love when they pour out. Who knows that we're doing it? They'll donate. So it's a great feeling, when you can just help others.
When you look back over everything, we ask everyone. Well, actually, how can someone get in contact with Saul? How can someone get in contact with you if they're interested? Are you over any social medias or anything of that sort that anyone can look to?
Yes. We're on Facebook.
Okay.
It's Sisters Anointed to Lead Together. We're on a Facebook page. And we're also on Instagram, which is mentoring_with_SALT.
Okay.
Our website is www.saltministry.org. And my telephone number that you can reach me is 850-346-6682.
Okay. Leave a message. Okay. She'll get right back to you. All right. But just thinking back, and you look back at everything that you've overcame in your life, giving the opportunity of mom being here, dad being here, of a sound mind. What do you think they would say to you right now?
Wow. If my mom was just too... I'm sorry. She is my best friend. If my mom was here, I could just hear her saying, and she always have said, "That's my girl. You go, girl." She never. She was my biggest. She was my biggest cheerleader. And I know she was standing here. She would just say, "I'm so proud of you. Represent me well." Because guess what? Everything that I am is what she instilled in me. Thank you. Sorry. Everything my mom, I am. You see standing, is because of her. She made sure I had the best of everything, no matter how hard she worked. But one thing I tell people, my mom, she didn't leave me cars, she didn't leave me money, she didn't leave me houses. But Terry, she left me the legacy of knowing Jesus. And that's what has taught me to stand. Because if I didn't know him without her being here, I wouldn't make it. I know I wouldn't have. I'd probably been somewhere just flat out, no talent. But because I know who to call on, because of what she has instilled in me, I stand proudly representing her. And I won't let her fall. That's my girl. That's my mom. When you talk about her, and being the only child, she was my best friend. That was my sister. But she spanked my butt when she needed to. But,
okay.
But she was my best friend. But yeah, I would tell you, when you talk about her, when I get what she has done for me, and that's why I tell my girls, you don't appreciate until they're gone. You be like, that's what they respond to know. But she was a good woman.
All in all, viewers, I have to have moments where I point this out, but there is no mistaking what finances compared to what is installed in you. There's just no comparison. There's no amount of money. I get it, millions of dollars, but there's no amount of money. There's no assets or things that can compare to what you can install and implement into someone's life. And you are an absolute witness of it.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Thank you.
We always ask our guests to provide some encouragement for free. What is some encouragement for free for that young lady, for that young boy that is going to listen to this, for that adult who is going to hear this, who is going to view this podcast? What's some encouragement for free that you can provide for them?
Wow. One of the main things I would say, follow your heart. Never give up. And always believe in yourself. Follow your heart, to never give up, and always believe in yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to lay down and be comfortable with yourself. And if you know you gave it your all, you'll be okay.
I want to thank you for coming here on Triumphant Moments. I really would like to have you on here again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sometimes in life, you must fail in order to succeed. But one thing must remain certain, and that is that you never, ever, ever give up. I'm T. Wood, and this is Triumphant Moments.